So this is another video about maintenance on McLarens. This one is how to adjust the headlights on a 570S. 600 would be the same, 600 LT. The 12C is slightly different just because of the way the headlights are mounted. Don't know about a 720, haven't done one yet. Anyway, this is the more common car. So 570, I would assume the GT is the same. It has the same front end LT, 600 LT. I think the 650 and the 12C have a different headlight configuration. Anyway, I'll show you in a minute. This car had a headlight replaced, the left side, driver's side, in the US by the McLaren dealer, and I guess they don't know how to adjust them, so we're going to show you how to adjust them here in just a second. You have to remove the trunk to get to the adjusters on here. Not a big deal, but the trunk's fairly simple to take out. You might check your cabin air filter while you're in there. It's fairly simple to get to. The other thing a lot of people have questioned, you can see there's an extra wire coming out of the battery. There's a connector there with a single wire that goes to the battery monitor. So that's one of the problems with replacement batteries. They don't have that sensor. So somehow it's tied into the electronics for the battery, which I'm sure is doing nothing more than probably just sending a voltage signal to the computer in the car to monitor the status. So I don't think anybody's actually tested it yet, but here's where the adjustment is for the headlights on both sides. If you look up in there, and I know it's hard to see, there's actually a Allen screw in there that basically raises the headlight up and down. There's no left-right adjustment, it's fixed. So that's how you get to it. It's the same on both sides. We're going to adjust them in just a minute, but we need to turn the lights out. So what we did is we set the car on level ground. Make sure your lift is down if you have front end lift. We measured the distance from the floor to the center of the low beam headlight here. On this particular car, it's 24.5 inches. May not be the same on your car. This car has larger front tires on it. It's got 245s instead of 225, so that's changed the ride height slightly, but you need to measure to the center of the headlight. Then what we did, we've positioned the car with the front of the headlight to the wall is 6 feet. I could have gone farther back, but that's all I need. And then I've got blue tape here at 24.5 inches to shine on the wall. You want to make sure that the car is pretty much parallel to the wall. So the center of these headlights is exactly 6 feet in either direction, so, or on both sides, so we know it's square. So I'm going to pause for a second, turn off the lights, turn on the headlights, and you'll see where they are now. So in order to get your headlights to illuminate, you've got to have the ignition on. So you can see this headlight that the dealer replaced is low. I don't know where they set them. You want this cut off. Move, Blue, move. You want this cut off to be right below there. You can see this one is slightly high. So we're going to adjust them. We're going to move the right side down and the left side up. This one I adjusted earlier. Myself, I actually had both of them adjusted, but we just kind of did it at night on the road. We didn't do this level of adjustment. So you can see when the dealer puts them in. I picked up this car in Scottsdale, Arizona and drove it back. At night I was having to basically run with high beams to be able to see where I was going on the interstate. The headlights were basically pointing at the ground, and at night you couldn't see but maybe 30-40 feet in front of the car. So we're going to adjust the headlights where they need to be. You do it by rotating the ratchet there, getting the headlights where you want, and slightly below the cutoff, because the way the European headlights work, they have a cutoff to the left so you don't blind oncoming drivers. So this is the right side where you get most of your light. This is the right side over here where you get most of the light, and it has a lower cutoff, so that's always going to shine a little bit less to the left. So we're going to get this one up and that one down, and then we'll turn this back on once we get it done. So here you can see after I adjusted them, so The Allen screws in there, I think they're 8mm. I'll have to look. I use an 8mm socket. Counterclockwise will raise the lights. Clockwise will lower them. So I set the left one just below the 24.5-inch mark. The right one, which is off to the right side of the road, not for oncoming traffic, I set to just about 24.5, basically level with the lights. So we'll drive it at night. We'll leave the trunk out, go drive it at night, and see what it looks like on the road. But this is the starting point. You can actually drive the car without the trunk in. You just need to secure the battery panel so it doesn't beat around with. We'll probably use some duct tape just to tape it in temporarily. So that's the low beam pattern, same side to side. We'll take a look at high beam now. So here's your high beam. You can see the high beam pretty much on the inside. The way McLaren does it, which is interesting because it's a row of LEDs, is the light tends to be this way, so it's high to low, and it looks the same on both sides. So the high beams do a good job at night. You can see the same thing here, and it looks like the brightest spot of the pattern is about at the 24.5. Same way on both sides. So pretty happy with it right now. Need to drive it at night, see what it looks like, and then put the trunk back in. But basically that's headlight adjustment on a 570S for people that don't like driving their car at night with the headlights pointing down at the ground, which all the McLarens I've driven, and I don't remember the 720 because I just basically drove one on the track during daylight hours, but all the other McLarens I've driven at night, even the 12Cs, have the headlights pointing down too far in front of the car. So hope this helps. We'll be doing some more videos on other things.